Hello guys, and welcome back, and it's a live video, and as you can see, we're getting ready to do, I'm glassing right now as we are. And as I said today, it was 10 o'clock when I said I was going to get started. I'm just now getting started, and the one thing that I'm doing is getting my work surface done. I sat for the last couple hours and touched up a bunch of parts. We're going to start actually glassing the airplane today. And it's going to be in a couple parts. And what happened is that I'm dusting all the crap off of everything right now. And we're doing all this live from here on out. All these videos that we're doing. Today we're gonna start doing one side of everything. So basically what I'm doing is I'm actually getting set up here. Not trying to be impossible. If I see anybody ringing on questions, I'll answer them. Now, I just spent some time on these to get everything kind of actually trued up, sanded and everything. We're not trying to get everything completely straight. Now, I took the hatches out and I'll cover directly over these. You're going to do the bottoms first. And I forgot one key component, so I'm going to shoot this for a minute else and get it set up. And we're going to start doing the parts. Now, in order to do this, we got to get up. We'll just do a lot of these things. And you're going to need a few things to do this. This is the way I do it. And I want to emphasize that this is all of your, we're going to be using Z-epoxy. I've got a couple of them because we are going to be doing a lot of parts. And the one thing is I want to explain to everybody on this, and I'm going to explain why I'm doing this way. When you get your resins and everything, your cups and everything, you're going to be needing. The only brand of cup that I know of, in all actuality, is actually these solo cups. I use these small clear ones when I do them for mixing. And you're going to need, I go to Harbor Freight and I have a tendency to like to buy those. These small cups are usually pretty good. Now, I want to emphasize one thing is that you want to keep these closed, keep the dust out as much as possible if you can. If you're in kind of a dirty environment like I'm in, then it is. This is our, believe it or not, this whole area is a storage unit that we have below our condo. And works out really to be a good thing. And we're going. Now I go and get 2-inch brushes. And I go through and I pull any of the loose hairs out of them. And you're gonna need one. I get a pack of 36 of these at Harbor Freight for about $8. They're not very much. And you don't want to reuse them. It's pointless. Don't try to clean them and get them. But I want to bring up on the point of the harbors. Your PT40 harbor is this stuff. And if it's dark brown like this, there's nothing wrong with it, but it's got some water in it. Okay, and this is why I do the denatured, and I'm going to stop the video and come back here in a little bit because before I mix this up, I'm going to put some denatured alcohol in it. And I'm going to do it for 2 reasons. And this is, something that really needs to be gone. You're gonna need a roll of paper towels. I use Bounty or whatever. Don't get cheap paper towels. It's not worth your time. And you're gonna wanna wipe these parts down. You're gonna have to get the dust off. Okay? Now, one thing that I do, and you want a surface that looks like that. Don't worry about little stuff like that. It's cosmetic and stuff, but you want this done. I finish these off with 100 grit. And as you can see, it's all done. There's no rut anywhere on these. I spent an extra hour to get them and get contours. Once I do this, I'm going to explain the resin a little bit, because this is a part that I'm gonna come up there. I've made a lot of mentions in a lot of ways that you're not adding a lot of strength to the airplane by putting Wound cloth on it. And if you did, you're actually you built your airplane wrong, because it's a wood structure. It won't ever be anything but a wood structure. But I do want to point out a couple little things. And I found this out. And I did some actual tests with this. And I'm finding out epoxies are kind of a really strange animal when it comes down to they're just not really temperamental, but they like a good clean surface. So they like a clean surface and they don't like to do it, and you got to be careful on what you're doing for just got to be really careful on how you're prepping your surfaces. And you want to take your time when you're doing this. It'll take you a little bit of time. Now it's cold, so I'm going to turn the heater on in here, and hopefully she doesn't turn anything on there. It's gonna get it, because it's almost overpowers the brake. And the one thing is, we're going to why we're doing this. I'm trying to concentrate on this and everything else like this when you do this. But I want to emphasize that you're done. A lot of guys are asking me what I use for fillers. Well, when I do use them, like in here, I use regular automotive Bondo. And the reason I do it is because of the fact is that it holds better and it's a lot stronger. And if you do a lot of filling to take care of a lot of the gaps that you're actually doing in your project, you're going to find out that, well, it can get ugly on you quickly. And if you sand your fiberglass soft, then it defeats the purpose of putting it on. So I like to do any of my anything that I want to fill, I do it first. Now this epoxy, this is a finishing resin. You don't want to use any kind of laminating resins or anything like that on that. And the reason why you don't is because of the fact is it'll just go, it gets really crazy on you really fast, and it's nuts. Now the cloth I'm using is, I get it from Nick Zaroli Plans, and the reason I get it there is because I personally like 1 ounce, and I like it because we're going to open it for the first time here now, and we're going to start cutting it out and getting things kind of set up. I apologize for my set, because I don't, there we go. One thing is, keep this as clean as possible. And this is a non-starched cloth. It's 1 ounce cloth. Okay. And you gotta be, it will snag like crazy. So you're gonna need a very, very, very sharp and new bed. And what you want to be looking for on your cloth, guys, is this is why I like the non-starched. I could damn near mold my fist with it. So this is here, and this is why we like this. And anyway, you don't want to waste this stuff, but you want enough of it to where you want enough of it on there to where you're going to be able to go through and get it. So that, now what I'll actually do to do these parts is I'll come up there because you're gonna have what they call a little bit of spoilage and some pieces of it. Now I gotta find my scissors. So there they are. And you're gonna want a good pair of scissors. It's really tough on these. I'll show you guys in a minute what I'm talking about. You don't want to go too crazy on what your you don't want to get too crazy, but you don't want to go too literally. You don't want to. You want enough material so when you cut it, I'll grab the camera here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm trying to concentrate and do a show at the same time, but these are all going to be live videos from here on out, guys, because I want you guys to have a full understanding of what I am actually doing here. And you want enough material on this to where you want enough material under where you got enough to you just be able to go through and look at these things. And it takes time to get them in again. It's like I said, another thing that I've noticed actually that you want to really be careful on is that you're not getting snags in your material, because if you do, you're going to be filling a lot more. Now, one thing that I've noticed with this stuff is that sometimes this material snags quite a bit. I'm trying to utilize as much as I can on this without going too freaking crazy on it. But you're going to go through quite a bit of this, and you can cut this with a razor blade, but it's extremely hard to cut. It's not ridiculous, but it is problematic, and a lot of guys don't realize you really need to, take your time when you're cutting your parts out. You can move it around. This is why a new pair of scissors is a really, really, really good thing. And I think I've got another pair here. They're just not doing what I need them to do. And now I'm gonna go out there and put a little bit of a deal on here for you guys for an understanding thing. I do the alcohol method for the reason being is because I've done it and I've had very good results with it. However, there are a lot of ways to do this without breaking the bank and getting too overly crazy. So, and the one thing is having an area where you can work. You gotta have room to do this. And I think one of the biggest things and reasons why a lot of people get into an area where they're kind of a little intimidated about a lot of the stuff is because it actually does take some finesse. You'll find out that it is easy and it's extremely easy. And it's actually really a lot of fun to do. Now, it takes time to lay the parts out and get them to where they're actually in fact good to go. So you just want to make sure you're not getting any snags in your materials. Not hard. I like to give myself as much material as I can spare on here without having anything kind of overrun. And the one thing is I absolutely and 100% totally go, because we're gonna have to stop the video because I gotta go get something. And but we're gonna go ahead and do this for part one on this, because we're going to actually be doing, now what we're doing is we're doing the bottoms first, and really doesn't matter which way you go. It's up to you. On which direction, which way you want to go, and I'm gonna leave up to you on the method you want to actually do. One thing that I do recommend is that you figure out, get all your pieces and parts cut out first, get them ready, lay them out as you're gonna do it. And you wanna make sure that you have plenty of material left over the edge. We are not gonna wrap, except for, I am going to wrap the leading edges on all of the on all these surfaces. And the reason I'm doing it is because I like a little bit more durability where it's gonna rub. You don't have to do it that way. One thing that I will actually recommend that you do is never wrap the leading edges. You just want to go over the edges of them. Stuff trims off with a razor blade so fast to make your head spin. And you let that cure. We're going to put 2 coats on this today. But I do want to, I think one of the biggest things is a lot of people don't, turn on heat source. Now, been dusting, and okay, so that's over there. Another way you can absolutely do this is one thing I tell a lot of guys when you're glassing on this stuff, pulling this glass, found out the hard way that you can do it this way as well. You can just lay a part on top of it. And there's another way of getting this and that. And I want to make sure that you got plenty of material. That's the be nice to your cloth, guys, when you're doing this. When you start messing with this stuff, you want to make sure it's not sitting in any dust or dirt or any crazy stuff like that, because you'll find out it will drive you nuts. And again, make sure that you're facing your product doesn't have an actual direction of where it needs to be. But it'll tell you where it needs to go. And again, we're doing our bottoms. And I like to smooth it out a little bit. And I like this to be exactly where it needs to be, and making sure you got enough area. I don't recommend trying to try and pre-trim it perfect right off the bat. Just go ahead and put it down on here and then throw it in on where it is. And your part should come out looking actually really nice. And one thing is, I like to ideally, and in all actuality, guys, I like to have a lot more room than this. But I'm doing this because a lot of you guys are in small areas, don't have it. And I want to make absolutely sure you guys understand that my whole video series was to prove the point that you don't need a whole lot of room. It helps. Believe me, it does. But if you don't, then you don't. So, and a lot of people don't have the luxury of having a whole lot of money to buy a great big giant shop, which I will again someday. Now, what I'm doing here, guys, I'm getting all the rest of my parts done and trying to lay them off to get as much as the empennage parts done as I possibly can. And doing that. Now there is a couple spray glue tricks you can do on this if you want to do it that way. I chose not to do it that way because of the fact I chose not to do it that way just because of the fact is that I've never seen a whole lot of actual purpose doing a lot of stuff that way. You want to keep in, it's very, very, very important, guys, that you keep everything kind of out of the way. And you want to do this in your shop like this when you're doing these parts and getting them ready to go. You want to do this in kind of a ballet, so to say, because if you don't, and again, it's like I said, don't, I would not try or attempt to over trim anything until you have all of your parts in there. And you're going to be amazed just how far this epoxy actually does go for the you'll be amazed, and it's pretty remarkable. Pretty remarkable stuff. Now, like I say to a lot of people, I will grab certain things, but going to the center of the seam more than efficient. And a lot of these wrinkles and stuff you'll see in there, you want to very carefully just smooth them out. I do this, make sure you wash your hands really good too, by the way. Okay, one more part to cut a piece up for. And then we're ready to go. And I'll stop the video. I'll be back very shortly. And we can there's our parts. Okay, before I do anything else, this is all the material that I'm going to be putting out for today. And this is not an overly expensive product to use, but to ruin it takes a little while to get it. And this and that, I just simply make sure that it goes back into its pack like so. It's important that you keep this cloth clean. I keep it back in the deal and I seal it up just simply like this. You don't have to tape it or nothing, but you want to make sure you put it back in the roll of what you're not going to use, guys. And this is 1 ounce cloth. No, you don't need any more than this. It's Okay, so anyway, we talked about this, and here's the deal. I'm gonna grab the camera and I'm gonna show you exactly what we're using, what we got, and what tools we are going to be using, and why, and what I'm gonna be doing. I gotta go to the hardware store and pick up some stuff. Now, this is gonna be the fun thing, like flippy guy. Bam. Okay, so anyway, this is what we got going on here. We're doing the bottoms of the elevators. We're doing half of the rudder, and we're doing the front half of the rudder. We're doing the elevators, the stabilizers, and the vertical fin. And what I'm getting ready to do is show you all of these little steps, because this is what we want. You want a minimum of 1 inch, but you know what? This isn't going to hurt anything. And so we want to make sure that we got enough material to be able to conform all of these parts. Okay. And so, and it's like I said, this spoilage and all this stuff is okay. These little wrinkles and things like that are fine. These will disappear. Now, if you get a snag in one, and it's typical that would happen in a lot. Idealistically, you want it to be all uniform like this. Now, when it comes down to this, I'm using the denatured alcohol method. The reason it is that I'm doing it that way is because, and this place is a thrashed mess right now because I never got down here to do a lot of these things because it's been cold. And yes, I do have a real airplane, and I've got real airplane parts down here, and I've got a lot of things going. And I'm getting ready to, I'm waiting on an actual workbench to show up from Harbor Freight, along with a lot of other things that I got that have not showed up yet. And so, yes, these brushes and things like that are fine. Yeah, that's my fuselage sitting on the ground because we're still working on it. But anyway, we're going to get these wings done, and then we're going to come back and we're going to start glassing this thing out. And one thing I will say is that this goes extremely fast. Now, if you get a dark, your resin's really super dark colored like this, it's got some water in it. And you're going to notice when we do some mixing and stuff like that, exactly what I'm talking about. You know, a lot of guys tell you they don't like the denatured alcohol method. And there are a few things that I left out that I need to kind of tell you guys what you need to do before you do your final sanding on this wood. And there's reasons for it. Now, a lot of you guys know when I fit this up, if you watch the other videos, when I did all the fit up on there, I like to use Windex and soak the wood and let it dry, or soak it in hot water and get it pliable. It'll almost bend over on itself if you do it that way. But the one thing is I didn't tell you is that don't sand out any dents or dings. Now, last night I came in and I sprayed all these parts down both sides with Windex. And what that does is any of your dings or dents that you got inside your balsa, it'll actually pop them right back out. You'll never see them again. If you don't do that and you go and you glass over dings and dents and scratches, guess what? Once you put your epoxy on there, they swell back up and they come out, they raise back up. So it's called wood casing. And I do it and it comes out really, really nice. Then I final sand everything down with 100 grit. And it'll look like this. It's smooth as glass. It looks real good, but you don't want it so smooth. But Basically, the reason why I do the alcohol method is because once I put denatured alcohol into this mix, it's almost the consistency of water. It's like these solo cups, I use these, and it doesn't, denatured alcohol doesn't affect them. Otherwise, you'll wear it. If you use any other kind of cup or plastic cup, that alcohol just eats it like crazy. And the epoxy actually stabilizes it, makes it flash off a little better. And man, I'm going to show you guys when this is done, that putting it down wet like that, it really penetrates that wood extremely well. And I mean, it turns it into like hard as steel. And I mean, it's really holds shapes really nice. And that's one of the reasons why I spray the Windex on there, because not only does that wood go, if there's any joints that didn't get glued in there, then it's going to show, because it actually bows. And it's actually kind of neat. So if you don't have all your joints glued in the way you wanted to do them, this is going to show you all of your flaws. And if you can get into it to fix it, I hope you can do it. Otherwise, you're going to have some bumps. But the one thing is about this jet is it's so precise and it's built anyway. It's very, very difficult to make any mistakes. Your only mistakes are going to be in your sanding and finishing. And that's where it's going to be. That's where the Mears RC jets are so nice, because those jigs, once you got it glued and done, you're done. And they're extremely rigid and strong. So this is going to make it to where it doesn't dent. And that denatured alcohol will actually slow the curing time down a little bit. This stuff will not even be cured for at least 8 hours. It doesn't give you any more pot life. You've only got about an hour, but these parts here, guys, I'm going to do them live. I'm going to show you how quick and fast that is. It only takes a few minutes to do these. So I'm going to show you the rundown on how to do the mixing. And before we get started, I want you guys to understand that you never want to put more hardener than resin, ever. The less, you know what, it'll harden with half of the amount of hardener in that resin. But you want to be very careful. And you don't need to let it sit. Once it's done and it's going to turn very foggy colored when I mix it. And I'm going to show you that. I'm going to hold it up to the camera. And I'm going to show you what the consistency should look like if you do it this way. Now, if you want to follow the way where you brush it on, and that it's more than okay to do it that way, guys. As a matter of fact, I just do the alcohol method because I like the penetration it does on the wood. But one thing I do want to explain to you is you're only going to do it on one coat. The next one will squeegee on, and that's actually, or brush it on. I do it, and then I'll sand it and I'll put 3 coats on. Some guys say use 2, some guys, no, I don't do that. Use epoxy primer. Well, I don't. I actually fill the weave up, and it's what this part of this series is going to show you. So I'm going to run and go get some alcohol and get this ready to start brushing on. I'll see you guys in the funny papers, and thanks for watching.